Hey, what's going on, everybody? Tim here, back with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about a truth that, whenever I dwell upon it, really makes me want to do everything I can to live the life I want to live and live free. And that truth is the fact that pretty much from the time you're born to the time you die, all the world is trying to do is enslave you. Pretty much your whole existence, your whole life, all the messages that come at you, all the things you take in, basically society just trying to enslave you, to get you to use your time, your energy, your whole life, get you to live it in a way, or use all those things in a way that benefits others. That's basically what slavery is. Slavery is when you do things you really don't want to do and it benefits other people. Now, this isn't physical slavery. I personally feel like in this day and age, unfortunately, there still are some people who live in physical slavery. But I don't think it's near what it used to be 200 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. You know, for a long time in our history, physical slavery was just the norm. I feel like in most places, physical slavery has been replaced with like mental slavery. It's a lot easier. If you want to physically enslave people, you got to get chains and whips and overseers, and you always got to be watching them. And in this day and age, there's so much information so readily available. It's hard to get people to, you know, they're always trying to run away. You know, like, people understand that there shouldn't be physical slavery. But the mental slavery, I think, is how they shifted, you know, is what they shifted their focus to. In this day and age, they realize that if you can mentally enslave someone and get them to think and believe the way you want them to, you don't need no whips, you don't need no chains. They'll do it willingly. Once you get in their head, they'll do anything you tell them to. You know, in fact, they will fight back against people who try to tell them to do otherwise. And this is totally true. So I wanted to talk about some of the just like very popular ways they enslave us or try to enslave us. Debt is a big one. I personally feel like debt slavery is the biggest form of like slavery we're dealing with in the world today. It's huge, it ruins lives, it sucks the joy out of people's lives. Debt just makes life and living miserable. But they've worked this one out perfectly because from the moment you are able to, usually around 18 or so, the moment you're able to get into debt, they're there trying to get you into debt. Credit cards just start coming in the mail. You know, you're usually graduating high school around that time, and they've already put into your head that you have to go to college to be successful. And they realize that the average person, most people, 80-90% of the population, cannot pay for college with cash, or will not get a scholarship. So your whole school career, they keep pumping college. And then lo and behold, when it's time for you to go to college, who's there? The student loan people, ready to put you deep into debt. Not just some little measly, you know, $1,000, $2,000 debt. Nah, they put you in debts. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and up. You 18, you don't know nothing about money because they don't teach you anything about money in school or money management in school. All you know is everybody told me I need to go to college. The only way I can do it is to take this money. They make it super easy. You basically just have to sign your name on the line. If you're really lazy, you can probably put an X. That'll probably work. You got a heartbeat and sign this paper, we'll give you thousands of dollars. So they instantly already got you as a debt slave. So you go through college, you get out of college, and in order to pay off the debt that you have to these people, you got to get a job and you got to jump right into wage slavery. One leads right to the other. It's a brilliant scheme. You got to give them your props. They've already got you into debt slavery. Now you got to get into wage slavery, where you have to get up every single morning and go to work. It's not like, all right, I'm going to go to work because I want to be able to buy. So no, I got to go to work. I owe these people 80 grand. So you got to get up and go to work. And it doesn't really give you a lot of people the freedom. The debt doesn't give a lot of people the freedom to kind of pick and choose a job they want to work in, you know, a job they want to work at, a field they want to work in, you know, do what they want to do. Nope. You got to, as soon as you get out of college, you got to go and, you know, you got to start working. And, you know, once you start paying the student loans down a little bit, well, guess what? Now you making a little money, well, you got to get a house, you got to get a new car, more debt, more slavery, the more you have to work at a job you probably won't like. And this is kind of true for people who don't. If you don't start off going to college and getting that big, chunk of debt, once again, in order to be successful in this life, it's been preached to you, you have to have the big house and the big car, the nice clothes. And guess what? They'll give you credit cards to buy all of this, easily. Credit is so easy to get. And they make it, here's another beautiful part of the scheme. They make it seem like in all the commercials and everything that they are doing you a favor, like they are trying to help you out by giving you credit cards or giving you payday loans or giving you all these other loans. They try to make it out like the banks are your best friends and they're here to help you, but at the end of the day, they want you to take this credit, and to be honest, they want you to get behind on it and not pay it off quickly because they make more money. At the end of the day, they want you in debt, trying to enslave you. At the end of the day, the reason why society feels that you have to have certain things and drive certain vehicles and live in certain houses, wear certain clothes, the reason society believes that is because it has been taught to us by people trying to enslave us so that we will take all our time, energy, turn it into money at our wage slave jobs and give it back to them. You work for them, they give you money, you give it right back to them. That is what the elite, the upper, percentile, that is the game they play. And it's the game they play because their kids aren't taught this stuff. Like rich people don't teach their kids the same lesson society teaches the rest of us who are all poor. If you're not one of the top wealthy people, you're poor. You may call yourself middle class, you can sleep at night. 90% of us or more are poor compared to the really rich people. So the narrative they put down for us is totally different from the narrative they tell their children. We're told, do this, get a good job, work for someone else. Their kids are taught, hey, you need to be the boss. Don't work for nobody else. No, that's not living. We're taught that working for somewhere else is okay. It's funny to me. I'll do a video about, trying to just say, hey, think about if you don't like your job, quit it. Not saying you have to quit your job, but if you don't like your job, just think about the possibility you can quit it. Or I'll do a video about, hey, there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur with the internet, things like that. You can start your own business. And it's funny, not telling people they have to do it. Just here's an idea, think about it. And I will get pushback in the comments from people saying, oh, it is not feasible for everyone to quit their job. It is not feasible for everyone to have their own business. That's just not the way the world is. That's always how they end it. That's just not the way the world is. Which kind of annoys me a little bit because all the things that were bad in the world that we kind of changed or we've worked on, we had to go against the way the world was. Like physical slavery. What if you were a slave in the South in the 1800s and you were like, I don't think this is right, I'm going to rebel. Guarantee someone will come up and say, somebody's got to be slaves. That's just the way the world is. But guess what? Fought against it. Now we don't have slavery in the U.S. in that fashion. But people are so programmed, they have this whole, that's the way the world is, this is the right way, we have to live this way. They get so mad if someone even broaches the subject and tries to tell them there's another way. That's how deep the programming is. But it's not the programming the elite get, it's the programming the rest of us get. That's usually what happens with slavery, is people get so entrenched in it, they start to believe it, and they start being the ones who hold themselves down. Even back with physical slavery, there was always that group of slaves who was like, no, we got it good, we don't need to revolt, which is understandable because it is a risk when you revolt. You're risking life and limb. Even in today's society, when you do try to go against the system, there's some risk. You get a lot of y'all know this. I feel like a lot of people who watch my channel are trying to live free, live their best life, live their dream life. And you've seen the response you get back from other people. Your friends, your family, people at work, when you tell them about the ideals you have or things you're going to do, they look at you like you're crazy. Some of them stop talking to you. They're always trying to convince you you're wrong. It's hard to push back against the slavery, but you got to. You know, like it really angers me now that I look at the world in this manner, and everything that's presented. I try to look at everything that's presented to me and see the angle. And at the end, for so many things, the angle is greed. Someone's trying to use me to get rich or to make money. So many things in the world. But I wrote down some other things. Another form of enslavement. You know, some things like alcohol, drinking. Like this one hits home for me because it's something I've always struggled with having a drinking problem. You know, like there's a reason why alcohol is still legal. There's a reason why other drugs that probably don't do as much damage to people are illegal. And alcohol, which is proven to do so much damage and kill so many people and just ruin so many lives. We all know someone who's an alcoholic, or excuse me, who has, you know, a drinking problem, something like that. I don't like to use the word alcoholic, pardon me. Someone who has struggles with drinking, who has just totally ruined their life. And guess what? They can go right down to the store and buy alcohol. The reason is because they want a certain amount of people to be under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Excuse me, under alcohol. Because A, it makes them a lot of money. You know, they make a ton of money. And two, it keeps a certain amount of the population down. You have people sober all the time. People start to think, people might start to rise up. So you need to have things that they legally can go and get a hold of, screws with their head, and keeps them down. Slavery keeps you enslaved. I think I look at things like this, like rich people have to get in their car and drive to go get alcohol. Poor people can walk to the store and get alcohol. Why? Because there's a liquor store, 2-3 liquor stores in every poor neighborhood. Rich people, think about it. When was the last time you was in a rich people's neighborhood? They got to drive a ways to get to the liquor store. Poor people can walk to the liquor store. Because once again, the elites, once you get to a certain level, you know, I mean, which rich people, they struggle with alcoholism too, with drinking things too. See, that word is so entrenched. It's even, I don't like the word, I can't. That's another video. Anyway, they struggle with drinking too, alcohol, things like that. But it's a lot easier when, you know, it's right there in your neighborhood. You know, rich people don't want it right there in their neighborhood. They want it close, but they don't want it right there in their neighborhood. So you don't see liquor stores all through the suburbs that close, or all through really wealthy neighborhoods. Nope, well, poor people's right there. It's enslavement. You know, they want to hold you down. I think a new one is like pharmaceutical drugs. That's a new form of enslavement. They want to get everybody hooked on these medications, which allows them basically to dictate your behavior. You think they don't know? They know the side effects. You know, they know the side effects of certain drugs. You know, once again, it's a money thing and it's a controlling your mind thing. They get all kinds of money from you for these pharmaceutical drugs when you go to the doctor. Say you're feeling down, all these antidepressants, all this stuff. And not saying some of them don't work. But I think a lot of time they prescribe these drugs because A, they get money out of you, and B, two, it controls you. It keeps you thinking a certain way. If they can get in your mind, then they've got you. And that's what it's all about. I was thinking the other day, you realize all pharmaceutical drugs are made out of stuff that was here before, okay? Like there's nothing new on the earth. Now they might have done some different stuff and, you know, splice some stuff together and come up with different compounds and all. So, you know, we've got technology that allows them to use the stuff that was already here in different ways to produce different results now. But it's still all the same stuff that was here before. So why can't we just use the basic stuff to cure our ailments instead of this concoction and this mixture you're making now and charging people $100 a pill? Why can't we just use the natural stuff that's in it and get the same results? You know, we never think about that. We just say, oh, the pharmaceutical industry, they know all this cool stuff. It's the same stuff that's always here. You know, a lot of our ancestors, before the knowledge went away, you know, just used natural remedies. And they were good. Now, I know someone's going to say, no, our ancestors only lived to be like 40 and they died from like bubonic plague and all that stuff. There's illnesses that come through now that we don't know what to do with them. Cancer, common cold, can't cure it. So yeah, of course there was illnesses back then that killed people. But too, you also have to think, all the stuff we hear about like illnesses that killed millions and millions of people back in the day that they're always trying to bring up. You do realize the only thing we know about that is the stuff they tell us about it. Not saying it didn't happen, just something to think about. A lot of the data that people or the the stories people like to tell to justify certain things in today's society, the same people who are trying to sell us something came up with, or they control the outlet that tells us. So like you can't always go on what you hear about history. Sometimes you have to think for yourself. I just feel like, I mean, not saying there's anything wrong with pharmaceutical drugs or stuff that you take when you go to the doctor. I go to the doctor, sometimes I just be like, find me a pill, I want to get rid of this. But I do think it's a form of enslavement. You get people hooked on all that, and you see the outcome of it, the opiate crisis. A lot, this opiate crisis, all these people hooked on these different pills and stuff, couldn't happen if people weren't subscribing them. If doctors weren't subscribed, that's how most of the pills and stuff get into the population. It's not that the people are robbing the CVS. I mean, they do that, but not in large quantities. People are getting scripts, going to the doctor, they're getting hooked on them, they're selling them. All this, I think this was allowed to happen, form of slavery. Because now they're in your head. Like, it's just, I mean, there's just, I tell you, the whole world is designed these days to try to enslave you. Even something like bills. Always pushing this stuff on us that we need so we can get these bills, and then once again throws you into wage slavery. You got all these bills, you got to get them, go to work. You can't even think about not having a job because you got so many bills and you got debt. Like, look, next time you go to work or go anywhere, try to find the happiest person in the room. It's usually Bob over there in the corner who's gotten out of debt. You ever see somebody who's super happy, just really happy? You ever see someone who's debt-free? You see how happy people are? You ever see someone who's got their bills down really low? You know how happy they are? Like at work? You know why? Because they know they could get fired today and it would suck and it'd be sad, but they know they don't have no more debt, their bills are low, they could coast for a few months while they're looking for another job. They're good. You know how freeing it is to not have all that on your back? You know how freeing it is to be able to have gotten an addiction under wraps, so it's not on your back every single day. The more of these slaveries you break the chains of, the happier you get. But we live in a society where they're constantly telling us that you're not successful or you're not living right if you don't have debt, if you don't have these bills. What's wrong with you? You don't drink, you don't smoke, something's wrong with this guy. He's constantly telling us this. And it angers me because it's all by design to take, life is a precious gift. We were each and every one of us given our life, we're given free will. We shouldn't have to battle against all this just to live it. If people came to the world and it was an even playing field and we didn't have all these crazy messages coming in and people decided to be into debt and things like that and get addicted to stuff, cool. But it's not fair, for people to be told they need to do these things from like infancy. Ruining people's life, like it's literally greed and people hungry for power, which basically comes down to greed a lot of times because they want power so they get money, is ruining people's lives. And the very people whose lives are being ruined are getting on board with it and perpetrating the message. It's insane to me. So my message really in this video is to everything you do in your life, look at it and try to ask yourself, is this helping me live a freer life, or is this helping someone else to get richer? Is this giving someone else more power? Is this giving someone else more control over my life? And if it's the latter, we need to try to find ways to fight against it. Takes time, it's not always easy, but at the end of the day, each one of us as a human deserves to live free. We deserve to live the life we want to live. We deserve to be able to take all our time and our energy and our whole life and use it to do what we want to do. Use it to help others, use it to be happy. Use it to build our family up. We should be able to live our lives free, not enslaved. So I urge you, think on this. After you turn this video off throughout your day, tomorrow, whatever, think on it. Look at your life. Because life gets so much better the freer you get. I'm Tim. Thanks for watching. Love to hear your thoughts on this issue in the comment box below. Talk to you later.